Army Staff Sergeant Tom Hansen's anxiously waiting at the airport, unsure of how the reunion's going to play out. He hasn't seen his best friend in 2 years, and he doesn't know if she's going to recognize him. Finally, the flight arrives and passengers start to come out. Then he sees her and her companion turning the corner. He kneels down and motions to her. It's a moment he's been anticipating for the longest time, and one he'll always remember. Sergeant Hansen's been through a lot with his best friend, Taylor, a Labrador Retriever. They first met when Hansen was deployed to Iraq. And Taylor was a bomb-sniffing dog trained to find explosives, ammunition, weapons, and vehicles. Although they were still getting to know each other on their first mission together, Hansen knew that he could always trust Taylor. When Taylor's behavior changed 20 minutes into their mission, Hansen knew that she'd sniffed something out. She kept going around without pinpointing a specific spot, and the soldier became frustrated. He walked up to her and realized that there was an IUD buried within an inch of his foot. This taught him a valuable lesson, to always trust his dog and know that there's something there. This trust grew into a very special bond that helped keep both of them, as well as their unit, safe. Taylor sniffed out explosive traps laid by insurgents, and when there was a firefight, Hansen always commanded her to cover before engaging. After each mission, she would get a ball. Hansen credits Taylor for keeping him alive. Before becoming Taylor's handler, Hansen had several close calls with explosives that left him with concussions after knocking him up. After 2 deployments in Afghanistan, Hansen left active duty, but he wanted Taylor to come with him. Military dogs' first handlers usually get first dibs to adopt them after they leave duty. However, when the time came for Hansen to go home, another handler was in need of a capable bomb-sniffing dog. So Taylor remained on duty. The separation was hard on the soldier. When they saved your life that many times, they become part of your family, he said. It's so hard to let them go. That's the hardest part of being a dog handler. Little did he know he'd one day see her again. After leaving active duty, Hansen came back to the US and was stationed at a base in Missouri. That's when he struck up a relationship with Army Staff Sergeant Emily Donner, a field medic who had served in Afghanistan with him. She was stationed at a base in Georgia, but despite the long distance, they made it work. They eventually got engaged and moved to Boise, Idaho, where she's from, but Sergeant Hansen never forgot about Taylor. When she was 10 years old, Taylor was finally able to retire. It had been 2 years since Sergeant Hansen had last seen her in Afghanistan. Once he got word that she was retiring, he knew he wanted her to come live with him, but it wouldn't be that easy. Despite getting first dibs, soldiers must cover the cost of transporting the dogs to their final destination, which can run up to thousands of dollars. Sergeant Hansen didn't have that kind of money. Luckily, someone else did, Molly Oliver, a flight attendant for United Airlines. Is an animal lover who has great respect for the armed forces. A few years ago, she began helping retired military dogs reunite with their handlers back in the US. She picks up the dogs and flies them at her own expense. She had already reunited 3 families when she heard about Taylor and Sergeant Hansen and knew she had to help. Molly flew to the base in Missouri, where Taylor was being kept after returning from Afghanistan. She picked her up and got on a plane with her, even buying first-class seats. Finally, they arrived in Boise. Molly walked with Taylor through the airport, where they met Sergeant Hansen. As soon as Taylor saw him, she ran to him. It was a tear-jerking reunion. I think she recognized me immediately, and she knew who I was, especially by the sound of my voice. She knew it was Dad, said Sergeant Hansen, but it really clicked in once they got her home. She was following me everywhere. She didn't leave my side, so she knew she was finally home. Even though Taylor's now an older dog, Sergeant Hansen's committed to making the most out of the time they've got left together. I'm just gonna give her the best retirement I can, promised Sergeant Hansen. Spoil her and do what I can to make the rest of her life happy and enjoyable. After 2 years of being separated, he never plans to leave her side again. I just want to take her everywhere I can with me, he said, just to be able to have as much time as I can with her for however much more time I have with her. And she definitely deserves it after enduring some terrible things. Being a military dog in a war zone took its toll on Taylor. Toward the end of her deployment, she started shutting down. She wouldn't work if I was holding a weapon. She started putting 2 and 2 together. It definitely got rough on her, explained Sergeant Hansen. Dogs can get PTSD just as quickly as a human can. So having Molly's help to reunite her with her beloved handler was definitely a blessing. Molly's like family now to Sergeant Hansen. What she did for me and Taylor was amazing. I couldn't thank her enough for reuniting us, he said. Molly, for her part, began the process of launching a non-profit to continue her mission and bring even more dogs home to their handlers. When she invited Sergeant Hansen to serve on the board of the organization, he accepted. His love for dogs goes way beyond his bond with Taylor. Before Sergeant Hansen and Taylor were reunited, the soldier rescued a boxer named Tarly, who had been shot in the leg and abandoned with a crushed throat. This is one of the reasons Sergeant Donner fell in love with him. If you love animals that much, you have to be a good person, she said. We couldn't agree more. Sergeant Hansen and Taylor's reunion's a heartwarming story of the bond between humans and animals. It shows how strong a bond can be when we work together and care for one another. Sergeant Hansen and Taylor's reunion is a reminder that no matter how far apart we are, love always finds a way.